could definitely happen. GSL was not the only Korean StarCraft that took place last week. The Pro League has still been going on, the SK Planet Pro League. Though this graphic here is the current overall standings in the Pro League, and you might notice a change. Woongjin Stars up on top of it all. This is on the back of some phenomenal red-hot play from those guys. We put together a little bit of a recap highlighting Round 3, Week 2. Here it is. After receiving a thorough thumping in Round 3, Week 1 play, the Woongjin Stars are back on track with some dominant wins this week. Winning both of their Week 2 matches with a combined overall score of 8-2, Woongjin has secured first place in the overall standings of the SK Planet Pro League. What's setting the Woongjin Stars apart from the rest of the pack? It has to be the incredible depth of their lineup. With strong players representing each race and multiple guys capable of representing in the ace match, this team's success can't be pinned on any one player, but instead belongs to the entire roster. Their toughest Round 3 test will present itself next week, as the Stars will face off against second-place team KT Rolster in a match that could very possibly determine who moves into Round 4 in first place. And no one has more to prove next week than KT Rolster themselves. Still winless in Round 3 play, the one-time pack leader appears to be slipping with back-to-back ace match losses in Week 2. Flash is still undisputedly the strongest individual player in the Pro League and is almost untouchable in regulation play. But when the pressure is on, the ultimate weapon has been proven to be mortal. KT lost twice in Week 3, both times in the ace match, and both times it was Flash who came up short. Does the fault lie with Flash himself, or is KT making it too easy for their ace to be sniped? Answers will come in time, but let's hope it doesn't take too long. One more week of losses for KT Rolster could see them losing their footing around the top of the league. Samsung Khan is irrefutably the hottest team in the league right now. After starting the season with only 2 wins and 8 losses, the Samsung team has won 7 matches in a row, catapulting themselves to 4th place in the league. Next week, Samsung Khan faces off against 6th place team SK Telecom T1 and last place team STX Seoul. There's no such thing as an easy win in the Pro League, but objectively, their next 2 matches should be the easiest of the round. If Samsung Khan wins, they could potentially find themselves within a single game of first place. Easily the hottest player in Round 3, Roro hasn't dropped a single map this round and boasts an incredible 5-0 record. With incredible wins over Effort, Jaedong, and Flash, Roro's Round 3 hit list keeps growing day by day. Only one other player has been comparable to Roro in Round 3, CJ Hero. Hero is 4-0 in Round 3, and like Roro, picked up 3 wins for his team last week. His big achievement, taking out Fantasy in a clutch ace match, closing out one of the most exciting series of Round 3. If you haven't seen it, head over to youtube.com/esportstv and watch all of CJ versus SKT1. SKT1 Rain continues to showcase some of the most inspirational Protoss play on the planet, and his Round 3 game versus Shy shows us why. After more than 20 minutes of intense macro-based PvP, Rain finds himself in the incredibly undesirable position of having lost virtually everything. A single bad fight leaves him with only his Colossi and his reinforcements to try and salvage a virtually unwinnable game. Can it be done? This is Rain. Of course it can. Incredible micro and immortal Colossi, and all of a sudden an unwinnable game becomes a certain victory. Beautiful play from Rain reminds us why he was a top 3 finisher in last year's Battle.net World Championships, and it reminds us why Rain gets this week's top play. This week's Game of the Week could quite frankly be Game of the Year. CJ versus SKT1, Effort versus Fantasy, a Zerg versus Terran on Entombed Valley. Fantasy's early 2-racks play would be dealt with handily by Effort, but in spite of the failed aggression, Fantasy would do an excellent job of stabilizing and transitioning smoothly into the macro game. Effort's commitment to mutilating Bane in the mid-game would keep him pretty safe from any sort of drop play, but Fantasy still managed to macro up a formidable army and constantly challenge Effort's attempts at securing a 4th expansion. The 2 armies would trade evenly for a while, but great positioning and constant aggression from Fantasy would eventually force an error from his opponent, allowing him to catch Effort's Broodlords exposed, dealing a critical amount of damage to the Zerg army.
자, 바퀴가 맞기 때문에 자, 바퀴는 뭐 큰 의미가 없다고 하더라도 맹독총을 다 잡았습니다, 지금은. 네, 맹독총 없습니다. 네, 맹독총을 다 잡았어요. 자, 점사! 좋습니다. 점사! 예, 완벽하게 지금 너무 의료선과 함께 해병이 많이 살아왔습니다.
Effort's macro never slowed, however, and with perfect injects and ceaseless waves of reinforcements, the CJ Zerg would eventually stabilize, establishing his late game economy and building a terrifying Zerg army.
위쪽에 지금 살아있니 결국 병력 모으기만 하면
Late game nukes would force Effort to scramble, but brilliant multitasking from the Zerg star allowed him to narrowly defend his expansions while constantly pushing his army advantage.
해병은 두 개.
Ultimately, the game would become a base race revolving around one critical detail. Fantasy allowed Effort to secure an expansion mere inches away from his army, and he never scouted it. With a secure and mining expansion, all Effort had to do was muster one final defense, and in spite of the nukes, his Broodlord Ball was up to the task, clinching the 53-minute slugfest for CJ and setting the stage for an eventual 4-3 victory in the ace match. Effort versus Fantasy is definitely the game of the week.
이걸 이기네요. 이걸 정말 어떻게 이깁니다. 최재.
Proleague has been a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying keeping track. I just have one question. KT, why aren't you playing Hitman? He's my ace on the fantasy team. What the hell?
It's okay, Ben. You're still beating all of us by a comfortable margin. How many points do you have now? Like 20?
It's like 24, I think.
Jeez, I have 15 points.
I'm +2.
Man, the team captain on my fantasy Pro League team hasn't played a single game. He's got.
And you guys should know the reason why this is the captain of Ben. So at the start of the season, the Pro League did not have their casters yet. So MrBitter casted once, one day, 2 clan-wise, and then the next day 2 clan-wise again together with Total Biscuit, which was pretty awesome. And Ben, well, obviously, like he did not really know most of these Brood War guys, so he just kind of like went into it. Then there was this guy called Hitman who opened up with I think a roach attack.
It was the best play ever. It was the best play ever.
Went into I think Mutalisk, then into Drop. Or Nidus, and then into Broodlord, and it all transitioned so smoothly. And Ben is like,
oh my god, perfect ZVT ever played.
Ben
he
is like,
hit
this guy is gonna
every transition perfectly. I was so blown away. I was like, guys, you don't get it. This is the next Bonjour. Hitman is official. And I was so convinced that he was going to just totally own it up.
Ben.
So I made him my team captain. He's a very low value player, so it's like very easy. I was like, this guy is the man. He's going to be my team captain. Hasn't played at all. He hasn't come out since the first round. It's just like Hitman who. So whatever.
I can imagine at the end of the year when we remember how we did NASL like awards, something like that. I'd be like NASL awards, game of the year to Hitman from KT. It's like
everyone is like, what?
Everyone's like, yeah, like Life probably put some good games. Party put some good games.
I'm like, yeah.
Like, man, that's not what we voted.
Hitman's like sitting in the crowd. He's like,
oh, okay.
It was like me. Nah, but overall, I do think the Pro League is super fun as well. Like in the start of the season, I tried to watch it whenever it was on, but it was not really something that I made part of my daily schedule. Like, oh yeah, tonight, who's playing tonight? You know, if it's on, I was watching. But certainly the last 3-4 weeks, man, whenever it's on, I'm so excited. I want to watch. I think it's super fun. I think it's fun to cheer for your favorite team. So of course, we all love EGTL. I personally really like SKT1 because Rain is on it, and I love it, man. Like right now, it's like, what? There's no Pro League for 8 days? Like, how am I gonna make it through these 8 days if there's no Pro League? I think it's super fun to follow, and I'm really enjoying the league.